Everybody, Jameson Brandon here, joined by my good friend Jubril Agoro, aka Mr. Think Outside the Box, aka
Chocolate Man.
Chocolate Man. And look at what he's sitting on. Woo-wee! He's sitting on a Mean Ninja. First time sitting on one?
First time.
First time sitting on one and first day riding one. So he's used to that right there. You see that little scooter, that little Vario?
And the big difference is automatic. So like that's
Yes.
automatic, you go. And
Yeah.
so like I've never driven a manual car, and like, I've played around a little bit on a manual bike, on a dirt bike, but I still haven't. I'm always thinking too much, and so I don't get to enjoy the experience.
And you know what? I think you're similar to me in the sense that, like, when I first started learning how to drive a manual and then right hand drive, and then I took a few, like, let's call it a few stabs at drifting. I was so in my head about the mechanics. Is that similar for you? Or
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's like, okay, what do I do with this hand, and then the brake, and then I'd forget to let the brake down, and then I wouldn't know what to do with my right hand, and I got all caught up in the mechanics. Is that what
No,
kind of what you're dealing with the
absolutely.
bike?
Like I don't just get to enjoy and let it flow. And I want to flow, man. I want to flow.
Dude, everyone needs to flow on a Ninja like this. So here's the challenge for today. You know, I've been coming out and talking more and more about this speed learning stuff, and I want this to become curriculum. Like, I want schools to be knocking down our door and wanting to use this as a regular framework for their curriculum and their teaching etiquette at schools. So the only way for us to do that is for us to work out all the bugs. So today we're gonna have some fun. He's, like you said, he hasn't ridden a bike before, a clutched bike like this. This is a full-size bike. Like, this is a big boy bike. You know, most people, they want to work through different levels, you know, get on a smaller bike, then a dirt bike, a 150, and then jump on something like this, which is a 250. We're going to dive right into this today and see, you know, and really test out these principles that I talk about and I teach, and see if we can get it to break, see where the cracks are with this thing, and at the end of the day, hopefully get him riding his bike. All right, so the first and most important thing that I got to do and I got to bring to the table when you're trying to teach somebody how to learn something really quickly is they got to feel comfortable. So you got to make it fun, first and foremost. You got to bring some unconditional love to the table so that they feel comfortable and that they don't feel like they're going to get judged. Fact is, when we're trying to learn something, we're already in our head enough. And that's because of all the old conditioning we have from when we were in school, whether it's grade school, middle school, junior high, high school, college, and all those traumas and that emotional stuff that's come up in the past. You know, it dictates and it affects how we're going to feel when we attempt to learn something new. So that's the first thing that I got to bring to the table, being the facilitator of this. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to start to frame this experience and minimize how big it feels to them in their head. So what I'm searching for is I'm searching for something that's bigger and feels scarier and ballsier that they've already accomplished, that makes this, what we're about to do, seem small. Because again, the thing that I find is when you step into like that new space and when you step into doing something new, you're scared. And you don't even really know why you're scared, but you don't feel comfortable. Maybe you're not scared, but I will say that you don't feel comfortable. So to make yourself feel comfortable, go through the memory bank and find things that you've done that are bigger than this or felt way more significant than this, and start to replay those memories so that it gives you context and helps you re-recognize that, like, what I'm about to do actually isn't that big of a deal. Those are the first couple things that we need to do. And then from there, I'm gonna really just kind of play around with some concepts and some frames to see if I can get him into a high state of flow, and then play around in that state to get him to pick this up as quick as possible. So we're constantly gonna be playing around with state change and then getting onto the bike and doing something. Getting off the bike, state change, getting on the bike. And I'll just, you know, kind of keep digging around until I really find one that sticks and I see a change in the physiology of who it is that I'm working with. And then that's when I know we need to just get on the bike and stay on the bike. What you just saw is Jubril doing his first run from first to second gear. You know, obviously he's ridden a dirt bike a little bit. He knows the mechanics of a manual, kind of. But what I did was I started him off on very basic principles. On a bike, you can kind of cheat a little bit because you get that right foot that has access to the foot brake, which is the rear brakes of the bike. And then you get that front brake on the right-hand side. So here's the trick, and this actually worked really well for him. I didn't realize this was like a trick until he said it was. When you ride a scooter, you got both hands fully on the handlebars because the right and left are both brakes. Well, here's how you set in a new habit for that. You do full hand only on the clutch, and then you do two hands. There he is, there he goes. And then you do two hands on the actual brake. And what that's doing is that's setting a new pattern saying, hey, both of these aren't brakes. This one is clutch, and this one requires my full hand, and this one is brakes. Because also too, the front brakes are very sensitive, and you don't want to go full slam on the front brakes so you flip over the handlebars. So those are a couple key mechanics out of the gate. And the first thing you want to do, and the first thing that I do in terms of like, if we're talking about riding a bike here, is I just need to learn how to do, let out the clutch, start the throttle. Let out the clutch, start the throttle. Who cares about second, third, fourth, brakes, all that? Like, your foot's already sitting over the brake for the rears, and then your hand is on the fronts. So braking is the least important thing. We need to figure out how to release clutch as we start to throttle up. So that's all I'm doing with him for like this first however much time, 10, 20 minutes, an hour, until he feels comfortable and that I can see that that's been habitualized to some degree. Then I'll get him moving into the next thing. Because we don't want to jump too quick, too fast. We want to make sure that these things are really ironed in there, all right? All right, what's up guys? So we're just walking over to the bike right now. I guess you'd consider this part 2, because the other day we had about an hour to work on it on the bike before we kind of lost daylight. So today we're back in action. This is part 2. Hey, bagus! And so today the focus is like, first let me take a quick little aside here. Is you know, Jubril he's had experience on a dirt bike before. He's had experience on scooters and mopeds in like high traffic countries and scenarios. So it was a lot easier to just take him and get him onto the Ninja. Like, you couldn't do the same thing with somebody who's never ridden a bike before. Like, you couldn't just drop him onto a Ninja and be like, hey, let's talk about how to ride this. It would make more sense to cycle through like lower quality bikes, lower powered bikes, and try and cycle through those as fast as possible to get to the Ninja, which again could take a day or two depending on who you got training you. But today the main focus, now that we got the mechanics down, and it was like all we really worked on that first session was like first gear, second gear, getting used to the clutch handle, because on a scooter you got, again, remember on the front handles you got brakes, is both of them, whereas this is clutch and brake. So today the focus is going to be to just get out of your own way and create a pre-shot routine or a pre-game routine, which is a mental sequence, call it a visualization or a little mental movie that is kind of like a highlight reel to get you in a good state before you step on the bike. So that's all we're going to be working on today, and then just like doing and dropping them into action and getting them out on the road into the traffic.
I'm ready, man. Let's do this, man. One of the biggest desires that I've had in my life is actually to ride like a Ninja full-size crotch rocket. I mean, since I was a kid, like, I had posters up in my wall, so it's a little bit surreal right now, and I'm just grateful that I can be learning from someone who knows what they're doing and, yeah, not die out here, so.
Yeah, stay tuned. All right, so here we are. We got Jubril back on the bike. We went through all the prep work and everything that really needs to be done for this next session. So now we're gonna take it out on the road. He's got his helmet on for safety. That's really important, especially with a bike like this. Like, it's a 250. Yeah, there's 600s, there's 1,000cc bikes, but there's a lot of power in that bike. It can go very, very quick. And so safety is obviously important no matter where you are, even if there's helmet laws or not. Like, it's not really that cool to get injured or to lose your life over not wanting to put a helmet and messing up your hair or whatever you got going on. So safety is obviously the most important thing. I got him just kind of creating a quick little mental pre-shot routine routine, this is a big piece of speed learning, is it's really just taking confidence and memories from other areas of your life and applying it to this to bring you into a mental state. And to create a state change, because your brain doesn't know the difference between, is this happening, is this real, or is this like a replay. The beauty of that is we can use that to manipulate ourselves, to get ourselves into a heightened state, get ourselves very present and into that flowy, into the doorway of that flowy state, so where when he gets on the bike, he can immediately just jump out of his head and let all that go and just be very, very present. That present state will allow him to stay focused, which will slip him into a deep state of flow. And yeah, so we'll go for a quick ride here, and then I'll come back with you and give you a little follow-up. All right, what's up guys? So this is basically, we're in session 3 of the day. Kind of going out, getting a little bit of time in, giving some space in between the training sessions, which I think is important, because it's like you gotta let the stuff install itself subconsciously. And so it's good to like do a little bit, work for like an hour and then walk away and then come back and then walk away, and you just do that over and over again, and it really helps it like sink in and compound quicker, I think. And so now we are about to go out on some big roads. We got helmets, we got all the gear, and this will be like really a long distance ride. And I just want to take a quick aside and explain like really what we've done here with riding the bike. Is we started with like 150, 200 meter patch, and it was like just back and forth, getting the mechanics down of first and second gear. Then it was like, okay, let's go down a road. And so it was like, we went up and down the road a couple times, and now here we are, we're about to go, big ride, like an hour-long ride, and do the final pieces, because at this point, for bike riding anyways, the final tweaks will be to really get down the upshifting and downshifting, brake work in heavy traffic situations, and throttle control. So those are going to be the pieces that we're going to work on in this session. And by another quick point is, by us doing this and breaking this down in little sessions, it allows me to see and take more time to see things with him as I'm following him, because I follow him along behind him, and so I can kind of catch where he's doing this or doing that, and we need to make some tweaks and some changes to increase proficiency. So that's allowed me to do it at a rapid pace, so it makes me look like a better teacher, and it's really just because we're micronizing the sessions.